Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, and I'm Matt, and we are live here at Gen Con 2017 in Indianapolis amidst the chaos that is going on here. This is absolutely jam-packed.
Absolutely nuts here.
And I am joined here with Nate from
Gamelyn Games.
So I hear, well, first I'm going to start out with, how's the con treating you?
Gen Con has been absolutely crazy. The lines have been awesome, the crowd has been awesome, and Tiny Epic has been performing extremely well, especially our new debut, Tiny Epic Quest.
So I'm going to start this off with, I hear, little birdie told me that sales have been fairly decent for you guys here.
Yeah, yes, they have. Yes, they have. The wonderful people of Gen Con 50 have really shown up.
That's fantastic. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of things. I know you wanted to talk about Tiny Epic Quest.
Absolutely.
And you just wrapped up a Kickstarter on that, correct?
No, we did. Well, the Kickstarter actually wrapped up about 9 months ago.
Okay,
so we just fulfilled on our Kickstarter.
There we go.
Yes, and so backers have been receiving their games. The feeling of it has been nuts. The pictures on social media have been great. Item Meeples have kind of stole the show a little bit with it.
Absolutely.
And so, and it was perfect timing where we could debut it at Gen Con. So backers have been able to get their game, they have it, but now we're, able to debut it here at Gen Con and get it to all these great people. So
fantastic. And I would like to talk about the Item Meeples a little bit. They're just plain awesome.
Right, right. Yeah, Item Meeples, it's designed by Gamelyn Games. This is an item. A lot of engineering and stuff went back into this. Lots of back and forth between our teams, Michael, the developers. There's a lot going on behind the scenes there.
Right.
But the end product that we've ended up with is, very durable and obviously has some legs, beyond Tiny Epic Quest.
It's got 2 legs.
Yes, yes, and 4 holes.
You got to make the jokes. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think I'm caught on something here. There we go. All right, so with Tiny Epic Quest, is there anything else that you want to talk about Tiny Epic Quest? How's it doing at the con? How's the reception of everything?
Yeah, so Tiny Epic Quest has been doing great, and the reception has been huge. And the only thing I would like to say is the retail version of Tiny Epic Quest, not quite out in stores yet, but Tiny Epic Quest will be hitting retail stores near the end of September. But we are going to do a exclusive U.S. Amazon launch of the product Tiny Epic Quest, and we'll be doing that August 25th. So that will be everybody's first chance beyond the convention or Kickstarter to pick up Tiny Epic Quest.
Fantastic, that's really cool.
Yes.
So stay tuned for those exclusive look at Amazon there.
Yes, yes.
All right, so in the Tiny Epic line, how's the rest of that going? Is there anything else you want to share from that?
Yeah, so everything's really moving great. So Tiny Epic Galaxies continues to be our best seller. Backed with a little star power from the tabletop episode has, kind of continued to soar. And the expansion actually just got released into retail a month ago. And so people are now, not only the backers, but the general population has the expansion to play with it.
Right.
And people are calling it essential. And so people are no longer playing the base game alone. Everybody has been adding in the expansion. So
essential is a very good word to have your game described as.
Yes, when the reviews came in and people just started playing it and they started using that term essential, we knew we had hit it. So
absolutely. So I'm gonna ask you a little personal question here.
Sure.
So what's your favorite in the Tiny Epic line? And, it's like choosing your favorite child.
Right, exactly. But everybody does have theirs, and they just don't talk about it. So my favorite in the line is Tiny Epic Kingdoms, and 2 reasons. One, it started it all. So Tiny Epic Kingdoms started it all, but it's a luckless strategy 4X style game. So there's no hidden information. You have to bluff your way out of things. You have to have an army larger than your opponents to crush them to get your way out of things. So everything is within your own hands. And that just really is the type of game that I tend to gravitate towards.
Gotcha. So anything else in the Tiny Epic line before we move on to some of the other offerings that you have for us here?
And Tiny Epic Kingdoms is a good segue into Heroes because this is a 4X. This is a 4X, strategy game as well. And so it's set in a fantasy world, set in the same world of Tiny Epic Kingdoms, actually Ogmore.
Okay.
And so you're going to see a lot of the same races will become familiar to you. But designed by Scott Alms, same designer of Tiny Epic.
Now I hear that Scott Alms is in this general vicinity.
Yeah, Scott Alms is in the house, and Scott Alms sometimes can be an elusive character. So, but we've actually scheduled and nailed down Scott Alms to be at our booth 3027 here at Gen Con for signings of Tiny Epic games.
Ooh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're going to have to make sure. And when's that going to be?
That's going to be Saturday 2 to 4 at the Gamelyn Games booth.
Okay, I know where I'll be. That's for sure.
Yes, he will be here signing, and so I think a lot of people will be excited to see him about Quest, talk to him about all kinds of other things.
Fantastic. So this is in the same universe as the Tiny Epic. So can you tell me a little bit more about the game itself?
Yeah, so Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, is a masterpiece for us. It's, over 2 years of development. We've really put our heart and soul into this game. But what Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is taking concepts of Tiny Epic big box games and streamlining them, but rather than reducing component sizes, we went ahead and left the footprint right where it needed to be.
I was going to say, this does not look tiny, but it does look like it's got the Epic part to it.
Yes, it does. And this is just a pre-production copy from our manufacturer. And so, we're moving right along. Things are going just great with it. The reception of when this game is shown, when this game gets out on the table, you see it come to life in a 3D element, people can't help themselves but stop.
It's got the table presence.
It's got the table presence. They stop, they look at it, they want to know about it, but it's not scary. This game is 30 minutes a player, so in a full 6-player giant game, you're only going to be looking at 3 hours worth of gameplay.
For 6 players, that's not bad at all, considering you're talking about a game that looks like it's got some meat and potatoes to it.
Yes, it does. The base game alone comes with 80 detailed miniatures, and they're not all grays. Your elves are going to be green, your humans are going to be blue, your dwarfs are going to be red, and your orcs are going to be brown.
So for those of us who aren't the most traditionally skilled painters, we don't have to worry about distinguishing the different races there.
Correct. The game out of the box is very beautiful, but again, took in its smartness to make sure that people who are talented at painting, which there are many of, will have no problem with this game. So
I'm excited to see what some of those people come up with in terms of the color palettes used and everything.
That's going to be one of the most exciting things to see, is what people actually come up with, when they get these, and to see the people painting their sets come through. And this game features kind of one more advanced element, is that this game has, sea vessels and air vessels, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Oftentimes in games when you have a sea or air vessel, you are essentially pretending that your units are traveling across the land in these vessels.
Right.
Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is going to introduce high-quality 3D cardboard constructs that actually will be able to chariot, or you'll be able to put your minis in the vessels, travel from your continent to your opponent's continent, and wage war.
So not just a little cutout that's sitting on the table, but a full instandee that you put the actual figures in.
That's correct. A full-on 3D cardboard construct. The air constructs come up off the board. They sit on standees. So again, just elevates the 3D table presence.
That's really cool, because it adds a lot of depth, and that would be. I would be worried if it was just these beautiful miniatures sitting on just a small, like a card on the table, but to actually bring them more to life, it enhances the table presence, and then it keeps you more immersed in the game as well. That's really cool.
It does, and immersion is what this game is all about. This is not a miniatures game. This is a game with miniatures, and so it's all game first, but we wanted to take it to that next level of quality, show what Gamelyn Games can do, and deliver a beautifully crafted product to the customers.
Fantastic. So can you tell us a little bit about Order and Chaos here?
Yeah, so you're looking at the expansion. So this is the base game, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. This is the expansion, Order and Chaos.
So the expansion is the same size.
It's the same size.
It's not just like a little tack on that you're putting there. This is another equally big animal here.
That's correct. And so in Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, this is the 4-player game. This is going to give you the 5th and 6-player add-on.
Nice.
Yes, and so you're going to get a big giant board extender, and then it's also going to introduce 4 brand new races: the lions, the lizards, the undead, and the goblins. And so
everyone loves the undead.
And you're going to have 8 factions to select from. Undead are a big favorite. But in this game too, there's 240 unique individual abilities across all 8 factions.
So there's a little bit of variety, is what you're saying.
Little bit. It's extremely asymmetrical.
Very cool. And so you're adding how many miniatures from this one as well, then?
80. So there's 80 minis in each of these boxes.
So that's all the painting?
That's all the painting. There's 160 minis, and if you got on the deluxe Kickstarter version, there's lots of promo mercenaries and other minis that came with it as well. So.
And if you had to pick one aspect of these games here that you really just absolutely love, what would that be? Something that really drives it home for you?
Yes. So what drives us home is this also features a follow mechanic. So general larger 4X style games, a player takes a turn, and there's a lot of downtime to that next player's turn. You could get up and do something different. You're not engaged in what that player's doing as much because it's not affecting you. In Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, when you take an action, I could have set myself up to leave available workers rather than doing something more for myself to be able to follow your actions. And so I'm always engaged and always considering what you're doing. And so you are just being engaged the entire time for 3 hours leaves you with such an impression.
That's a huge point of importance, because I know there's a lot of games that we play, especially when you get into the higher player counts, where in between your turns you're kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs, and I think it's a very nice thing that to be able to keep engagement going for everyone at the table so that there's no downtime, and it keeps everyone even more interested into what's going on. You have a much better time.
It does, and you learn the game more, and you learn the nuances of the game more, which is kind of always what the developer and the designers really want. Everybody gets the base level rules, but find those nuances, those really aha moments, and being engaged consistently brings aha after aha after aha moment out of this game.
Fantastic. So where can we find Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea?
Yeah, so Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is currently available for pre-order on www.gamelyngames.com. And we do have the promo mercenaries and all the promo stuff up as well. The Kickstarter has ended. The Kickstarter late pledges have ended. So again, you can only pre-order it from the website, and we're looking to deliver to backers February, March, so maybe in retail. Yeah, and maybe in retail around May. We're right on track. We hit the ground running with this, and put all of our effort into it. So.
Fantastic. Now, one last thing: is there anything that I could pull out of you for future things that are coming down the pipeline, or is that all secret stuff?
No. Hold, please.
Oh, okay. Let's see what he's got in store for us, folks.
So what we actually have coming is we are revamping and making a second edition of Tiny Epic Defenders. Ooh. Tiny Epic Defenders is a cooperative game. It was an earlier entry into the series, and so we have redone 100% of the art, 100% of the graphic design, and actually modified a lot of the abilities to bring it more up to par with the strategy. Of where the rest of the series is at.
Gotcha.
But we're going to be introducing a brand new expansion to that called The Dark War.
The Dark War.
Yes. And The Dark War is going to add a lot of elements to Tiny Epic Defenders. And this is going to be launching on Kickstarter end of September into October sometime.
Okay, fantastic. So right at the tail end when we should be seeing Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, we should be starting to see the new Tiny Epic series.
You'll be seeing this on Kickstarter in about 6 to 7 weeks. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is going to be getting to people 2018, February, March.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. So Nate, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about today?
No, you got Twist Gaming is awesome. But no, Gen Con's been great. If you haven't made it to a Gen Con, make it to a Gen Con. So.
Well, you can't this year. They're all sold out, unfortunately.
That's correct.
But
and
next year.
They're very proud about that, too. They have lots of signs everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
We're sold out.
I mean, I would be, too, if they sold as many tickets as they did.
Yes.
All right, so thank you all for joining us today. This is Twist Gaming signing off here from Gamelyn Games. Thank you very much, Nate. I really do appreciate it.
Very welcome.
Hope to see you again soon.
Yes, sir.
Take care, everyone. Matt signing off.